Hi everyone, welcome. This is Mr. Osher's biology class, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to take Cornell notes. Cornell notes are a really important form of note-taking because they can help you better study for a quiz or a test, and it can also help you understand the material better. So there's a few steps in the Cornell note-taking process. First is document. So you're watching a video or you're reading a book, or your biology book, I hope. And the first thing you want to do is take your note paper and divide it up. The way you want to divide it is by drawing a kind of wobbly, wonky eye. So divide your paper into a couple of sections. Make sure when you do this you leave room to write. If you don't leave yourself enough room to write, then you're going to get frustrated because not everything will fit on the paper. The first thing you want to do is on the very top line is write the topic that you're supposed to be reading about or listening to. So for instance, I wrote up the topic cells. You also want to write your name on the paper just in case your notes ever get lost. And it's always a good idea to write the date just in case you're not sure when it was we learned about cells. The large box on the right-hand side is for notes and drawings. If you are a cartoonist or an aspiring artist, please feel free to use this space to make sense of what you're learning. When you're taking notes, it's always a good idea to skip lines between ideas, because if you kind of cram everything together, you may not be able to read it as well as if you skip lines. So as you're reading or watching the video, skip a couple lines and leave yourself some space in case you need to go back and add things later. You also want to abbreviate as needed. Make sure when you do this, you understand the abbreviations you're using. It's no good to you if you use an abbreviation in your notes and then go back later and you forget what the abbreviation's for. After viewing the video or reading, you need to go back and then pull out these things. You want to pull out main ideas from the text or the video that you watched. You want to take out any key points, anything that was important or was stressed in the video. And you want to also note any important people or dates. There are a lot of famous scientists out there and a lot of interesting discoveries. I'm not going to ask you to remember the history of every science person you come across, but it is kind of a neat thing to know when something happened. These important ideas you want to write in the left-hand column. Again, make sure you skip spaces and make sure that what the key ideas when you're writing them down, they should go next to the notes that you took that correlate or correspond to whatever you wrote. So here I've got, plant versus animal cells, and I've written that animal cells have no walls but plant cells do. So all of my notes are kind of coming down the page, and I've gone down and I've kind of pulled out some of the key ideas from each piece. The next thing you should do is use the bottom section. So you've gone through, you've taken your notes, you've pulled out key ideas, any vocabulary you're unfamiliar with, all the important stuff. And the bottom part should be the summary. This is just a few sentences that sums up the key points of whatever it was that you learned. You might want to ask yourself, if I was going to explain this to somebody else, what would I say? So in other words, how would you explain this to somebody who's never learned it before? This helps you learn it better. The last step in the Cornell process is it's the summarizing reading process. So this is when you want to go back and you want to look at your notes before a test or a quiz. The nice thing is if you take notes like this and you take them well enough, you should be able to go back and read your notes and do a really good job on a test. So here's how to do it. You want to reread your notes in the right column. So reread these for examples that you pulled out of the text or the video. The next thing you want to do is focus on understanding the key ideas in the left column. These are the most important things. You're likely to see these ideas and concepts on a test. So this column is what you really want to study and understand. Not just memorize, but actually understand how things connect together. Because there are going to be some questions where you're going to have to pull on this knowledge and know how to apply it, not just memorize it. And the last thing you can do is just kind of reread your summary section and see how it is. So those are the steps in the Cornell process. You document your notes by reading or watching the video, taking some notes. Then you go back and you pull out the key points and write those in the left-hand column. Then you go back and you make a summary of those important key points. When you're finished with that, and you're ready for a test or a quiz, all you have to do is go back, read your notes, and you're well on your way to being a successful student. I hope the Cornell Notes process is helpful for all of you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video talk. Thanks!